What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? I'm Jay Gutta, 1/3 of the Hood Smoker Podcast. Welcome. And as you see, again, this week, tonight, on episode 336, I believe, we're live on Instagram. But you know how we do it. It's going to be up on YouTube, too. So get ready. You know what I'm saying? So it's a double whammy. It'll be live on motherfucking Facebook also. So let me go ahead and let the guest tonight. We got a special guest. Let me do a little intro because usually we do a starting soon. Check us out on YouTube. Go subscribe to the Hood Smoker Podcast. You know what I'm saying, on YouTube. That's our platform that we mainly go live on. But let me tell y'all a little bit about our guest tonight. He's straight out of Queens, New York. You know what I'm saying? He got mad bars, mad skills. You know what I'm saying? He's a motherfucking beast when it comes to the mic. His pen game is on point. We got the motherfucking one and only Mr. Hyde in the fucking building tonight. Yes, sir. Now let me send this out. Let Mr. Hyde know we live. Let the hood smokers know we're live. Let everybody know we're live. Hold on. Alright. Let's see. We waiting for Mr. Hyde to tap in. Blatonio Todd. And due to some microphone issues, Blatonio Todd will be silent Todd tonight. And he got some questions he's got written down for he got some questions he got written down from Mr. Hyde. So get ready for that. He did it with the Havoc interview, saying that's a whole fat with the cards, you know what I'm saying? And Brother King X will be joining us here shortly. Hold on, I got a message from Brother King X. Hold on real quick. Alright. What up, though, Shady Beats? Shady's Beats. What up, though, family? Salute, salute. Share it around, let people know we live. Hold on, I'm about to send it out to a few more people. Let's get some people up in the building. Let's get some motherfucking people in the building. We got Mr. Hyde, like I said. We got a lot to talk about. He got dope music from rocket shows, hip hop in Queens. It's going down, man. Let's get it. From Detroit to the world. Let's go. Yes, sir. Shit, inboxes. We got you. We just wait for some eyes that tap in right now. I'm Jay Gutta, like I said, 1/3 of the Hood Smokers Podcast. We should be having Blatonio. I'm messaging BKX right now, Brother King X, my co-host. We usually do this over on YouTube through Discord and Streamlabs and all that type of shit. We play music and shit, you know what I'm saying? But hold on. Hold on. Alright. Alright. Shout out to the UK. Shout out to the UK. Shout out to our homie in Glasgow too, Parkhead boy. Glasgow, Scotland. He should be tapping in the chat. That's the homie right there. But yeah, we appreciate you tapping in. Appreciate everybody that's tapping in. We got Mr. Hyde in the building tonight. Like I said, Queens only. You know what I'm saying? From the legendary Queens, New York, New York. We got a lot to talk about. Cause we're Detroit's #1 spot for hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, #1 spot for hip hop. And we like I said, y'all gotta go over to YouTube. Go check us out on YouTube. But we're doing this live tonight, special on Instagram, episode 336. Yes, sir. And we'll be uploading this on onto YouTube. So go check out the Hood Smoker Podcast. That's with a T, man. Just like how it's spelled. To YouTube. We've had legends like the DOC. You know what I'm saying? We've had legends like, we just had Havoc the Mouthpiece on. You know what I'm saying? DJ Los. Big Hurt. Legends from all over. Alright, now there might be the occasional dogs barking because I'm outside with it today. I'm not in the studio. Since we're not doing it from the computer, I'm doing it live from my fucking phone. You know what I'm saying? We're doing the interview live from the phones today. Yes, sir. It's the Hood Smoker Podcast. Shout out to Lustful Tunes Official. What up, dope? Salute. Oh, Shady's Beat. You in Scotland? That's what's up. That's what's up. All right, we got Mr. Hyde in the building. I'm gonna pull Mr. Hyde up, even though we don't have Blatonio Todd's not in the building yet. Accept it. Go live with Mr. Hyde. What up, dope? Hold on. Mr. Hyde in the building. What up, though, family? I was just
What's
hyping you up.
happening?
What
What up?
up,
What up?
dog?
What up? I was just
What up?
making I was making a post on the story, just telling my followers that I'm live right now. So
Yeah.
so can they join this live through my story too? Like,
Oh,
or
yeah,
just
yeah,
click?
yeah. Yeah, it'll be
Okay.
showing up live on your channel too. So,
All right, we're set up for that. Yeah, I'm in the whip right now. I got the, you know what I
oh
mean? It's
shit,
fucking my
that's,
house is a madhouse. I got my daughter's having a sleepover with one of her friends.
oh
Uh,
shit, yeah,
my little brother's kids are in, and her friend, her dad went to a metal show, and was like, "Yo, could you watch?" It was like last minute shit. Could you watch my daughter? And maybe they could have a sleepover. I'll pick her up, scoop her up in the morning. So I was like, "All right, fuck it, go do your metal thing." Because I know if I had a metal show to go to, I would need a babysitter. You know what I mean? So my wife is watching the little monsters while I'm doing the interview. Make it
that's what's
happen.
up. That's what's up.
I
That's what.
I just didn't want to get hit with stuffed animals and fucking fake swords and shit while I'm doing the interview. I mean, I'm sure it would be cool, but it would be fun for the fans. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. This is one of the co-hosts, Blatonio Todd. Like I said, he's the only one that's not from Detroit. That's part of the crew, but he actually
okay.
been to Detroit. Right before rest in peace, brother Marquise had passed. We had him on the show. He came to Detroit, rocked the show here, and Blatonio
Oh,
came up here, rocked the show and shit from Tucson, Arizona. So we got Tucson in the building too and shit. So
no doubt, no doubt. I've been to Tucson. I've done shows out there, Phoenix, Tucson. Forget where else. A couple of shows in Arizona we've done. What's
okay,
up,
that's
man? How you doing?
yeah. His
Yeah, yeah.
microphone's fucked up right now, so today is Silent
Oh,
Todd instead of Blatonio Todd is Silent Todd. But he got some questions
okay.
written down for you, dog. We're gonna do something a little different. We're gonna try something out here today.
Todd is on mute. Okay, this is already an original interview. We got.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. We got me doing it from the whip. We got a mute motherfucker with a Modelo. So we know we know the deal. That's what's up.
No doubt, no doubt. BKX will be in here in a minute. I think you got that backwards, Blatonio.
You gotta flip the screen.
Yeah, yeah.
We
No,
got
no.
we got mutes and dyslexics. That's what's up.
No
All
doubt.
right.
It's definitely an honor to have you on here, dog. Let's start
Uh,
off. You're from Queens, right?
yeah, Queens, New York, born and raised, and then eventually I bought a spot now out in Florida. But I moved to Bushwick for a little bit, just for like about it signed like a 2-year lease and broke the lease because I found some dope shit out in Florida, and it's just a better life out here, for my daughter, better schools and stuff. So New York is becoming a little bit of a fucking war zone, sewer craziness, especially after like COVID hit. There was like no parking. People were
No.
running wild, doing stick ups and shit like all over the place in my neighborhood. People went ape shit. That shit went crazy. COVID made New York turn on its fucking head. So it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like one of those. It was one of those wild situations where I'm like, you know what? I got some money saved up from all the hip hop shit and touring and stuff. I was one of the smart ones. You know what I mean? I saved my money. Hey, facts, big facts.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So like I knew I know that shit could all go down the drain in a fucking second. You never promise
Right.
tomorrow, whether it's the government, whether it's your money, whether it's your health. You got motherfuckers dropping like flies out here. So I always I might be a little nutty, and people think that my values and my convictions are a little crazy and the way the code that I live by, but it kept me alive this long, kept me healthy this long, and a lot of people fuck with me. You know what I mean? So like I must be doing something right.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a fact. That's a fact. No, it's definitely an honor to have you on here. Yeah, COVID. I remember New York was like number one, and then Detroit and Philly. We was all the top three and shit. So we was dealing with that bullshit over here. I was out there in lockdown, like exposing
Hell,
hospitals and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
We
I,
got
I mean, I'm sure. I see the question. I see it. I just wanted to. I don't want to cut you off on what you were dealing with, but I'm sure a lot of people lost loved ones with the COVID shit. I
oh yeah,
lost. Big shout out to Kid Joe, who's a PLR mainstay. He was our jester. He was our main, our main homie. You know what I mean? Roll with us everywhere on tours and stuff. Real bug out dude. Um, Fun. Always laughing. Always making people laugh, no matter what the situation. And he passed due to COVID complications, but also that shit was surreal. We couldn't even visit him at the hospital. They were on some like, you could look at him from behind glass or something, and then the whole hospital they had their own level of COVID, and you know what I mean. It was a fucked up situation, man. We don't we I lost cats from my neighborhood who I grew up with, younger than me. Like it's just it was some wild shit, and I feel like it was you know I have my conspiracy theories about it also. I feel like it was a power grab to see how many people would comply. You know, bird flu is bird flu. Call it what it is. You know what I mean? Like flu was no different. You know what I mean? A flu
Right.
is a flu. There's all different strains. Viruses mutate. You call it something new, and then you cause fucking hysteria because you know you got the old people all up in arms, and everybody gonna go run and take shots that they just made and shit. It was then there's complications from that. We don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Right.
But yeah, you know, but that was some real shit, and it's one of the reasons why I started looking for spots to buy out here, and it was enough with the New York high rents and shit. You know, paying for speeding tickets, parking tickets, red light tickets, camera shit. I mean, I'd be going, you know, 40 miles an hour at night through like an area where there might be a school when school's not in session. 2 weeks later, I get a ticket in the mail. You know what I mean? Like, what do you
Right.
mean? On a Sunday, there's no school. I was going, you know, driving normal. Actually, one of the few
Right.
times I was driving normal, I got a ticket.
That's
But
crazy.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So but yeah, you know, but if you want me to get to the question,
Yeah.
falling in
Yeah.
love with hip hop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see the question. You know, I've been asked this a couple of times, and it's I would say I grew up listening to everything. You know, like just influenced by what was going on in my neighborhood with my like people who I was around, like anybody else, influenced by their environment, right?
Right.
So like in the '80s, in the '80s, growing up in New York, especially Queens, and especially like having being of Italian descent, we had my older cousins and stuff would listen to anything from Metallica to like TKA freestyle shit.
Mhm.
You know, they like to party, go get chicks, go to the you know what I mean, the dances, so like that type of stuff. So I got raised with a lot of the stuff from that era, but I had a lot of anger as a kid because I was thrown out of my house when I was 16. So I was out on the streets just repping shit, doing shit, dealing with shit. So a lot of my anger I related to Slayer, Metallica. I'm rocking a Slayer shirt right now. Um, Shout out to Necro. He actually I think he got me the Slayer shirt for one of my birthdays. But anyway,
Good
yeah.
one.
But yeah, I was influenced by metal a lot. Slayer, Metallica, Iron Maiden. I loved the artwork from Iron Maiden, and like just how sick and intricate the artwork was. I remember I was staying by my dad's house over the weekend, and my mother and father were divorced, and my dad had a new wife, and she was divorced, and her kid was 10 years older than me, but staying with his dad on the weekends, and I would come stay with my dad in her house where her son wasn't there, staying with his dad. So like I would stay in his room, and his room would be laced with like Van Halen, Metallica, fuck all the posters on the wall and shit with the Eddie from Iron Maiden, and that should bug me out because I was young. I was like maybe 8, looking at all these crazy artworks, and then I got into his record collection and his tape collection. I was listening to the shit. You know, like it's something for a little kid to see the dope artwork with the skulls and the evil shit, and then listening to it too and being shredded by the music. It's kind of like, you know, opening up an album and looking at the lyrics and being
Right.
able to follow along with the lyrics while you're listening. So that when I was younger, metal spoke to me a lot. I was an angry kid from, you know, divorces, a lot of bullies in the neighborhood, dealt with a lot of crazy shit. And then I, you know, so I got that aggression out by fighting and by like jamming out to metal. And then a little later on, um, in junior high school, hip hop hit hard, and because my area was kind of urban, and I was going to a school where like you know, Gangstar hit, you know, fucking all the ill like 90 early 90s hip hop shit, 1990, 91, you know, Brand
Right.
Nubian, all that dope that dope shit hit when I was like just hitting eighth grade, junior high school, eighth grade shit, and then all our styles just flipped. The hip hop just took over, and we just got into the hip hop phase. You know what I mean? It was just, and I had already started writing. I was always dope with like writing, little short stories, creative writing type shit, releasing my anger. But a lot of the stuff that I would write would be metal and like end of the world shit, apocalyptic, whatever Slayer was writing about, I was kind of writing about and like adapting that style. But when I would kick my rhymes, it would be in a hip hop format.
Right.
So, and then once we got into hip hop and we were all in hip hop, me and my friends, I just started writing to beats and writing it that way and kind of doing it with metal and horror connotations. I was very influenced by horror and horror movies. Anything in the 80s that was taboo and you couldn't watch with your parents, and you would go
Right.
watch it by your friend's house. We'd go rent horror flicks from the video store with, like, you know how people would go to a liquor store with an older guy or older homie and he would buy you liquor? I would go into the video store with an older homie and he would rent us fucking, 3 on a meat hook or the most foul horror flicks or whatever it was, the Driller Killer and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'd be like, yo, rent that for me. And then we'd go, my friend's older brother and whoever it was. And then a little bit later, when my father would pick me up on the weekends, he wouldn't give a fuck. He let me rent whatever I want just so I would stay out of his hair. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go play poker with my friends. You rent whatever you want in the video store and just sit me in front of the TV. And I would be like, oh, word? Okay. I'm renting WrestleMania 1, 2, and 3. I'm renting Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Blood-Sucking Freaks. I'm renting, because I was like a kid in a candy store. For me, movies and that type of shit that my mother wouldn't let me rock when I was home with her as a kid, I would rock there, and I would just fucking, I would eat my heart out with that shit. But then, like I said, when hip hop hit, I was all in on hip hop, and then somebody put me on this dude who was an older dude in the neighborhood who was down with a friend who was my age. He was a DJ and he was doing house parties and he had records and he would make mixtapes of underground hip hop shit. And he was one of the dudes that was up on Stretch and Bobbito and this dude named Paul. He was a DJ and he had his ear to the concrete up on all the ill shit. So he was give my friend a mixtape and we would listen to it like, yo, this shit ain't on the radio. We don't know what this shit is. But it was dope. It was real, all the illest shit. So like, yo, where'd you get this from? And he put us on. He was like, yo, the Stretch and Bobbito show, check it out. So we used to listen as kids, a little bit old as teenagers.
What up, though? Hi, my guy. It's been a
What's
long
up?
time since Brooklyn, the E-Chime show. What up,
I,
though?
I remember this motherfucker. I remember your face. What's happening, bro? How you been, all right?
Man,
You
I'm
good?
good, bro.
Good,
Just
good.
been
Good to see
dealing,
you again.
dealing with life. That's all.
That's, moving at the speed of life, right? Quote exhibit. Yeah, but yeah, should be wild, bro. I mean, from day to day, you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen anymore.
So,
Motherfuckers dead, people dropping dead, shit,
Oh,
crazy
shit.
shit happening in the news every minute. So it's some wild shit.
Right.
It's death in real life, death in stereo every second out here.
oh yeah.
That's a fact.
But
Yeah.
but we stay positive, right? We doing shit like this.
Yeah.
Got
We're
to.
above ground. We living. We chilling. We vibing. You got mute motherfuckers writing questions on oak tag. Is that oak tag or is it just paper?
Oh no. What are you right
remember,
now? What are you right now,
remember
Silent Todd?
remember oak tag back in the day where you had to do a project in school and they'd be like, yo, go
Oh
get
yeah.
oak tag and write with magic marker.
Oh no. Yeah, he brought the old school back.
Yeah, the old get the highlighter pen. If
Yeah.
you really want me to answer those questions, you got to use a yellow highlighter, and then I'll answer it.
What was the question? I
Word.
didn't see what. Oh, can you list 5 MCs? Maybe.
Push it back a little bit. Pull back a little bit so I can see. Name 5 MCs that made me want to rap. 5 MCs that influenced to make me. Okay, so I
First
always get
album.
asked these. I think I got most of that question. The question there. So I get asked a lot of this stuff a lot, but actually that's a good way to ask it because there's two ways. There's two ways I list my influences usually. So one would be MCs and rappers that influenced me before I started rapping, before I even picked up a pen, and they influenced me to pick up a pen. So I think that was the question you're asking, right? Okay. So then there's obviously I'm influenced by what's out after I started rapping. I'll be influenced by the environment and what's going on in hip hop at the current time, and list like my 5 favorite MCs, whatever. But so before I started rapping, I would say one of the major influences that I heard when I first the number one I'll say is probably Cool G Rap. When I heard Ill Street Blues by Cool G Rap, Ill Street Blues,
You lose. Plus, you got the
right?
Ill Street Blues. You
So
lose.
I was listening to hip hop already, and all Run DMC, all that, Big
Yeah.
Daddy Kane, KRS One, The Love's Gonna Get You track was really dope.
Love's
MCs were
gonna
actually
get you.
spitting. Yup, MCs would be spitting stories and shit on rhymes, and that appealed to me because I was like, oh, these guys are so dope. They could actually write a story in a song and make you like it and bop to it and play it, and it had replay value. Usually, when
Right.
you read a story or something, you know the story now. You know how it ends. You have to be really dope to make someone want to read the same story over and over. Like if you want to watch the same movie over and over, it's got to have classic lines and classic scenes. So that's how a song like "Love's Gonna Get You" definitely influenced me. Cool G Rap, Ill Street Blues, because it was a story and it was mob shit, and I related because I'm Italian, and I have my father and my uncles, they all had mob ties, so like I definitely related. He was doing jobs for the mob, put all that shit, doing deliveries and picking up and collecting and shit like that. So that was a dope ass story. And then he was doing it with like multi syllables and stuff. So I'm gonna definitely shout out Cool G Rap as being one of the main people that had me want to pick up a pen. Slick Rick is another one. So Slick Rick also with the
Dope.
stories, children's stories, lottie dottie, being able to just to like emotion and a way and make you feel a certain way when you're listening to. If you're listening to Lottie Dottie, you feel good and you're bugging out and you're laughing and there's humor and there's comedy in the rap. And I got interesting, funny stories about Slick Rick also with his music and how it influenced me. So I would say, G-Rap, Slick Rick, I'll list KRS-One for "Love's Gonna Get You" and tracks like that. It was just so dope. He was spitting mad knowledge. Um, uh, NWA was another one. So NWA probably when I heard them, it was very similar to a Slayer where I was able to release my aggression and be like, wow, these motherfuckers do not give a fuck. They'll say whatever the fuck they want on record. Anything they ain't feeling or anything that they got on their mind, they're gonna say with the F bomb every fucking 5 seconds. You know what I mean? Like on some like banned shit. Like it'd be like taboo. If you were listening to that
Hey,
shit,
since you
your mother
mentioned
would get pissed
Slayer,
off.
since you
What?
mentioned Slayer, since
I
you
got the
mentioned
Slayer shit
Slayer,
on.
I got one for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
What do you get when you merge Slayer with NWA?
Mm.
You tell me.
Body count.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Word up. That's definitely true.
I know, cause I'm a Slayer fan. Cause you know what, we was
Yeah,
talking about that in New
yeah, yeah,
York at the Brooklyn show. We was talking about Slayer and Gigi Island and all that.
yeah. Oh hell yeah, hell yeah. I mean, they're all pioneers of that type of aggressive, do your own thing, fuck the world. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm gonna list NWA in there too. Um, I know you said MCs, but NWA being a group and all. Another one I would say right around the time I was about to like I was listening to Stretch and Bobbito. It's probably 1990, 91, something like that. And I'm gonna say when I first heard Redman, right? So I first heard Redman, I was like, wow, this motherfucker got mad personality, spits very animated, very like in your face animated.
Froze up high. Mr. Hyde, you buffering, fam. Hold on. Yeah, Mr. Hyde's buffering right now. Shout out to the chat. All right, you back. I think you back. It
No, still buffering.
I
still
had to throw
buffering.
my shit on. I had to throw my phone on personal mode.
All right.
Because now I won't get phone calls. Yeah. So yeah, my phone be blowing up. So
Right.
so yeah, Redman was very animated and very in your face and very lyrical, right? And he was kind of like a superhero. He had so much personality in his rhymes. So like, time for some
Uh,
action. Time for some
time for
action.
some
Some
action. Time for some action.
shit,
Time for some action.
shit that would get you pumped and make you want to fucking wild out and that you know what I mean, like that.
Straight
So
out of
like basically
Jersey.
that's a lyric. That's a Redman lyric. Like right? Like like I had cerebral palsy. So anyway, so Redman was definitely an influence for me to start writing. So I'm kind of like, and now you can see it with my style. I'm very in your face, very aggressive, very adrenaline rap, very like
Right.
very very demonstrative the way I spit, and I do it lyrical too. So you know, so shout out to those MCs. Did I name 5? NWA, Redman. Oh, another one. Okay, I'll name the last one. The Ghetto Boys. So the Ghetto
Ghetto boy.
Boys were also
Man, get out my head because I was just thinking Ghetto Boys.
so Ghetto Boys. When I heard the Ghetto Boys titled album, and just like read these Nikes, right? Tracks like that. Homie don't play that. Tracks like Homie don't play that. Of course, mine is playing tricks on you know, my mind is playing tricks on me. All that shit, like that shit was so dark and so evil, but also had comedy. It was because
Right.
Bushwick Bill and Willie D had lines that were mad funny, and Scarface was more like street and very he was like a visionary, a street visionary, but very depressing type shit. So like anybody who's going through it and listen to the Ghetto Boys, you can't tell me that listen to a Ghetto Boys
Hey,
album didn't
hey,
make
I
you
bet you didn't know Willie.
feel
I
better.
bet you didn't know. I bet you didn't know Willie D was the writer for the Ghetto Boys.
I mean, I know Willie D was. I follow Willie D. He's still present on social media and shit. Willie D's
Okay.
a fucking legend. He's real
Yeah,
dope,
yeah.
and he's nice with his hands. So I know Willie D well with
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I seen
boxing
that.
shit.
All right, yeah, he
Yeah.
is.
So I always give props to MCs. Shout out to the MCs that could really rep it in the streets and nice with their hands. Shout out to Freddie Fox. Shout out to Tretch from Naughty by
Bumpy
Nature.
Knuckles.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to Necro with
Necro.
me on tour all over the world. Be punching motherfuckers in the face.
Salute Necro.
You know, like shout out to MCs that can hold it down. Shout out to Redman too. Redman don't play. So you know, I mean, there's lots. But
Fucking
anyway, so I like
shout out to Eshawn. He another one that don't play.
no doubt. Peace. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the list right there. That those would be the cats that made it easier for me to pick up a pen with my attitude and my you know, wildness, how I was, and just I wanted to say whatever the fuck I wanted to say for my art and for me to have my release. And they made it seem okay to do shit like that because they were mad bugged out and mad original and pioneers for their time. And if you roll it all to into one, you probably get a little bit of the personality you hide, you know.
That's dope. No,
Word.
that's dope. So when did you realize like hip hop rap that was gonna be your thing? That was your full time job. That's what you was gonna do and shit and make it. You were putting 100% into it.
Okay, so here that's an interesting question. I haven't been asked that in a while. So basically, I always knew that I wasn't gonna work for somebody because I didn't like working jobs and getting fired. You know, I would get fired and shit. You know, I get fights with my boss. I did not have I had a problem with authority from when I was little. That's why I was kicked out of my house. I didn't like nobody telling me what to do, you know, and just I was a very rebellious kid. And look at the music I was listening to, right? Slayer and NWA and fucking Ghetto Boys, right? So I had this attitude where like, fuck y'all, I know better, even if I didn't know better. So, but I had a lot of talents as a kid. I was a jock. I was a baseball star. I was boxing. I was very good at boxing. I could play poker. I could deal poker, and I could rap. So I just knew that I was going to be able to use my talents somewhere along the line to get paid.
Right.
And I don't want to have a boss, right? So I probably figured that out in high school because
Okay.
while I'm in high school, while the lesson's going on, I'm writing rhymes, and then in like if it was history class, I'm writing rhymes about Napoleon and you know shit like that. Geography, I'm writing shit about being in Ethiopia, you know, starving with everybody else, you know. So you know, just crazy shit, imaginative shit. So like I knew I wasn't gonna just do this school shit and go to school on top of that after that. You know, I knew I was gonna get paid off my talents. So I started battling and stuff in high school with other kids that were in the culture and hip hop. We bang on the old school shit, bang on the lunch table, make beats, rap, battle each other in the schoolyard, kick your rhymes that you wrote the night before, and then you come to school with those rhymes and kick them. So that type of shit, along with the sports and along with everything else. So I remember everybody starting to tell me that my shit was dope and I should try to rhyme and try to get signed. Back then, in the '90s, it was all about getting signed, right?
Right.
So like
Right.
going to make a demo and go shop your shit. I made my first demo in like 1992. I went to this company that it was called Twice as Good DJs, and they were in Queens. There were a DJ crew in Queens that used to do block parties and house parties and block parties, you know, like block parties and shit. And they had their own studio. And I went there with my boy, who we made a group together. We used to just listen to Stretch and Bobbito and hip hop
Yeah.
and write rhymes and stuff. So we went in and made a group and did our first demo there. And we paid whatever we paid, and we had a little tape of us on tape. We were playing it for people. I would play it for everybody. And eventually, people were like, "Yo, you know, your shit's pretty dope. You should try to shop that and get a deal." So, you know, I didn't know how to go about it. So I would call up Stretch and Bobbito and start rhyming. And at the end of the night, they would have callers come in, call up and start rhyming over instrumentals at the end. So I would start doing that, you know, rhyming over instrumentals at the end. Most of the time, they make fun of you, hang up on you, shit like that, or cut you off. And I remember one time, I was rapping a certain rhyme, and I remember one dude was Lord Sear. Shout out to Lord Sear. We know each other and shit. Lord
Yeah.
Sear was you know, laughing about the lines I was saying and whatever, and he was kind of making a joke out of it. And he was about to cut me off. He was like, all right. And Bobbito was like, nah, chill. Let him finish. He's pretty dope. Let him finish.
Right.
And I remember hearing that and getting pumped. And I kept spitting, you know what I mean? And they let me finish my rhyme. They didn't cut me off. So it kind of gave me the confidence and cosign that I wanted at that time. And then I just started going heavy to open mics, going New Eurekan Poets Cafe, and putting my name in a hat and going to open mics. And basically, anytime I got to perform in front of people at battles and open mics in the underground scene, I would do it. And I started getting a lot of love from the fans. And some people would be like, "Oh, that guy's bugged out," and some people would like it. And it was cool to get that under my belt, performing in front of people and see their reaction. And then after all the MCs would get together and cypher outside. So I was ciphering with dudes like Mos Def, The Last
Yeah.
Emperor, Talib Kweli, dudes from
Oh.
that time in the underground, Cute Neek, the Arsonists, shout out to the Arsonists. Just a lot of Company Flow, a lot of these artists from that time, you know, like that underground mid-90s time. And then, you know, getting co-signed by artists who had singles out on Stretch and Bobbito being played was dope too. And then
Yeah.
that eventually I ran into Necro at one of those shows, an underground show. And then
Okay.
we clicked.
That's what's up. Yeah. Shout out to
That's
Necro and
what's up.
how we could do a
Yeah, big
chat.
shout out. That's my brother from another mother. You know, there'd be no Hyde without Necro. So, you know, he fucked with me when nobody else was really fucking with me. So, you know, like
It's
because
dope.
our styles were similar. You know, like we gravitated towards each other, and I hit him up. I heard him on one of those radio shows on More Mayhem with DJ Riz. And maybe I should put on the lights in here. I don't know. It's starting to get dark out here. But anyway, yeah. So I heard him live on the radio, and the freestyle he was kicking blew me away. And I heard he was doing a show with Cage. He had put out Cage's first record, and he was doing a show at New Eurekan Poets Cafe in like January '97. And I popped up at that show, and after the show, he was selling his homemade movie. He made basically a directed, Necro directed black and white flick, and he was selling it. It was called 187 Reasons Why, and he's selling that after the show. Being an entrepreneur selling shit hand to hand outside. You know, like how
Right.
we would sell merch now.
Yeah.
And I ran up, I supported, I bought one of his VHS, we kicked it. I told him I rhyme and shit, and I loved his beats and this and that, and I loved his appearance at the radio show. And I spit my crazy lyrics at him, and he was bugged out. He was like, "Oh, this motherfucker's wild." And then basically, you know, like eventually we hit it off. You know what I mean? We had a lot of the same interests,
Yeah. That's dope. That's dope.
so
So,
it was cool.
Silent Ty got a question. What
Go
gravitated you to
ahead.
punk rap or the darker side of hip hop?
Well, that stems off off the last thing that we were talking about being influenced by horror and metal as a kid. In the like, what was doper than '80s horror, right? When you
Right.
had
Right.
like
Friday
it
the
almost
13th.
turned into like a pop culture of the Freddy Krueger movies, the Jason movies, the Michael Myers movies, Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. All that stuff became almost pop culture and really dope, along with the dope metal and like death metal shit and the hard fucking technical metal and the all that stuff of the time. So I was influenced by all that and totally shredded by the metal covers. And then when I started rhyming, it came out that way. So my first rhymes were violent rhymes, and I was a violent kid in the streets also. So like fighting for whatever scraps I needed.
Right.
Back then I was on my own. I was homeless, living out of my car when I was 16 for a while. So like I doing schemes, trying to make ends meet, doing little robberies and shit. So fighting people, strong arm shit, crazy shit. So all that stuff and those influences, of course I was aggressive. So when I first started writing, I would write about the things that I liked and I knew, which was metal, horror, violence, that type of stuff. So those were more interesting to me than just rapping like party fun shit, throw your hands in the air,
Right.
like I wasn't doing that. I wasn't going to parties, throwing my hands in the air and doing that shit. I was knocking people out at a lot of parties. So
Right.
you
Right.
know
Right.
that type of shit.
I see a question in the chat. Are you thinking about doing a podcast? Is there a Mr. Hyde podcast coming out there asking in the chat?
Oh yeah. Oh hell's yeah. Actually, yeah. So somebody must have heard about that. I did the Panda Chop interview recently.
Yeah,
Shout out to
shout out to
Panda
Panda
Chop.
Chop. He wanted us to tell you
Shout
what.
out to Pandy Chop.
Word
What
up.
up,
So
though, Pandy Chop?
he did a crazy long interview with me that got chopped up into segments, and you know how he does, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
but yeah. So can you see me good, or do I got
Yeah,
to
we
put
can
on
see
fucking
you.
lights here? All
You're
right.
good right now.
So
You're good.
because it's
You
getting
good,
around dusk
bro?
over here. The vampires are about to come out around here. So
Right,
I
right.
know we on the same time zone, homie. We on the same
word
time
up.
zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, word up. So let me just see if I get any other kind of fucking light in here. There we go. I think that's pretty cool. All right. So what was the question? My bad. I said Panda Chop had done an
Oh,
interview.
it
Oh, there it
was
goes.
Mr.
There
Hyde
you
podcast.
go.
Yeah,
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
yeah, that's a
Yeah, yeah,
classic.
yeah. That's a class. All the low budget horror movies too. I was real into those. I
Sit
would
on your
because
grave, the
once
original.
you know what it was.
Man,
Once you started, everybody knew about Freddy Krueger and that type of shit, right? That was
Right,
kind of like the
right.
commercial horror. So, Poltergeist and all that stuff, the shit that came out in theaters. But eventually, you wanted to check the shit and bring shit to the table to your friends that they didn't see before. So you
Yeah,
started watching, like, I know I did. I started watching the really underground, crazy, fucking wild shit that nobody else knew. And I'd
right.
be like, yo, did you see this one? Did you
camp
see this one? You'd put people
shit
on to
like
that.
camp horror, Evil
Right.
Dead. 'Cause Evil
Of
Dead was
course.
underground in a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Evil Dead blew my mind when I first seen it. Those type of fucking
And you
special
know that
effects
was
and that crazy shit.
shot out here.
Oh, word? No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay,
Bruce Campbell was from Detroit.
okay. No, I didn't even know that. Okay, well, Detroit got some dark shit, bro. They got some dark
And
influence.
Sam Raimi from Detroit.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, okay. So you're up on shit like that. I didn't know that. All
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
so yeah, I'm gonna actually do my own podcast soon. I got a big shout out to my boy Eric, Porter Rock, who lives in a condo next to me, and he got a home studio upstairs in the crib. And I'm like, yo, we got to put this to use. He was a reggaeton artist in the '90s and shit, but he kept all his stuff and all his studio equipment. He could engineer and shit. And then I had done a bunch of podcasts. Shout out to the Ryan and Scott podcast, the Ryan and Scott cast. They were one of the first cats, and shout out to the KB experiment. They were one of the first podcasts to throw me on the podcast shit. And every podcast I'm on, they're like, why don't you do your own? So I have a couple of these different podcast cats that are going to help me out, starting
Yeah.
my own. My boy Ryan, my boy Eric, and then, I mean, as you can see, I got a lot to talk about. I got a lot of stories. I got a lot of shit, but I'm going to do it with a little bit of a theme. And I'm not going to leak the theme yet because it's going to be when I put it all together in a package. I'm gonna hit everybody with it over the head.
That's dope. That's dope.
But yeah, definitely. I would say by the end of 2025, the first couple of episodes will premiere. I'm
Uh,
working on it.
so y'all be on the lookout for that. What about music wise? What you got, Mr. High Guy coming music wise dropping?
Hang on 1 second. Let me open this water for a minute. I'm gonna put this phone down.
You
All right, gotta get some
everybody in the
H
chat.
H2O.
You talking about the movie Bad Taste, Silent
Oh hell
Child?
yeah! I fuck with Bad Taste for sure. I have a Bad Taste shirt.
Mm.
I fuck with that. That's Peter Jackson shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid
Have you
question.
seen? Stupid question. Yeah, no doubt. No, of course. I fuck with all those under. I got movies for you guys too. I mean, if you want to do like trivia shit and pop up crazy flicks, um, did you guys ever see the flick Martyrs? Martyrs. It's
Martin.
an actual it's a foreign flick. You
No,
ever
Nah,
that's
seen
the shit.
Martyrs?
That's the. I know about the
Mar-
martyrs.
Martyrs is fucking crazy.
That
There's an
shit. That
English.
shit
There's,
crazy.
there's
yeah, I
an
knew.
It's in
American
English.
version,
It.
right?
Yeah.
If you want to see some gore shit, that's fucking foul. It's basically about how much someone can take pain
Hey.
wise until they
Oh
become
man.
until they become a martyr.
Check that
Like the
out.
same pain that motherfuckers felt back in the day when like Joan of Arc type shit when they became martyrs. Like so they're trying to push people to the limit of being like martyrs and saints by pain. It's a wild flick.
That's dope. That's dope. So what
You know
about the
it's another.
music?
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
go
the
ahead.
music. My bad. So I
No.
just dropped a single last month or 2 months ago. Man, not even maybe a month and a half ago. I just dropped Verbal Viper.
Yeah.
That's on all
Okay. That's the.
platforms. That's
Fine.
my new single. That shit's fire. That's out. Shout out to DJ Gruesome doing the cuts on there. Shout out to Sniper Beats at the beat. Shout out to BK Dragon's Lair. I mixed, mastered, and recorded there. That's my studio. My boy Multiple Blast Off, the illest engineer in the game right now, in my opinion. Makes my shit sound really fucking more aggressive than it is, and panning from just the audio quality. You know what I mean? That sonic quality. Um, but yeah, it gives you that cinematic feel that my lyrics give you. I'm descriptive as fuck and cinematic as fuck. And then when you get the audio value of what my mixing engineer does, um, yeah. So that track is really fucking fresh. Crazy scratches on there. I give a throwback to the like the '90s hip hop and the hip hop that I grew up listening to. A lot of the cuts are like Snake and Viper and Venom, Verbal Venom, and that type of shit related.
Yeah.
Grabbed a lot of samples. I love one of the things I used to love to do was find out where the samples were from. When you heard a dope track, you'd be like, "Oh, where's that cut from? Where's that? Oh, they sampled KRS right there. Oh, they sampled Guru there. You know, so I still do shit like that.
Yeah.
And I do it with I do it with movies too. I'll sample movies, as you guys would know, like
Look.
intros and shit and skits from the horror flicks we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that comes from me hearing the Ghetto Boys, the influence of the Ghetto Boys. The Ghetto
Yeah.
Boys were one of the first groups to sample Scarface and
Right.
sample like
They
ta-
was.
taking samples from movies like Scarface and then putting it in the music. Fuck
Oh
them
my
all.
word.
Fuck them all. Fuck them all.
Fuck. I
Oh
got a
to
bone
my
to pick
word.
because I'm sick.
Right. That type of shit,
Balls
right?
in my word. Don't fuck with me. Balls
Don't fuck
in
with
my
me, right?
word. Don't fuck with me.
Balls,
Ball,
balls. Yeah.
balls. This
So
country is just one great big pussy just waiting to get fucked. This
that's
country is just one big thing ready to get fucked. Say hello to my little friend. Boom,
hell
boom.
yeah.
Say hello to my little
So
friend.
you can see when I mention shit like that, I feel the same way. We get that same nostalgia, and we could rattle off lyrics. You know what I mean? Like
Man, Ready Red cut that the fuck up. Ready
yep,
Red
Rest in
cut
peace,
that
Freddie
the fuck
Red.
exactly,
up.
Yeah. Rest in peace,
exactly.
Freddie
So
Red.
like I
Rest in
always
heaven,
try,
Rest in heaven, DJ Ready Red.
Yeah.
Another friend of mine.
rest in peace, Bushwick Bill.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
like
Rest
fucking.
in peace.
Anyway, but like I pay homage to shit like that. So I'll always do a track on one of my albums. Every time I put out an album, I'll do like the vintage horror track. I'll pay homage to that. I'll do the vintage DJ cut track with throwback like Killer Collage where it got samples and cuts, hip hop type shit. And Verbal Viper has that. I kind of I like to still pay tribute to the people that paved the way and the shit that I grew up listening to.
That's dope. That's
I
dope.
got
So what
another
you?
I got another single that I'm working on right now. It's written and it's arranged. It's written and arranged. I just have to record it. Shout out to
Okay.
my homie Cotards. He did the beat. Cotards is one of the illest producers that a lot of people don't know about. He's done a lot of my catalog recently. And he's got really dark fucking beats that speak to me. You know what I mean? So that next single is gonna be him. Shout out to Ozier from Italy, from Sardinia. He's another dope producer I'm working with. And obviously, shout out to the king Necro, where a lot of these producers wouldn't even be out if it wasn't for Necro. And I got shit I'm working on with him. I have a couple of I got a track for his album that I featured on, and Necro has a track for my next album that he featured on. So we're gonna trade features, you know.
That's dope. That's dope. If you had any artist that are alive to do a feature with a collab with, who would that be? Anyone. It don't gotta even be hip hop. It could be any genre of music.
Probably. I mean, you know what? I might have to say Ozzy.
Ozzy?
You know, like
That'd be
because
dope.
I might say, you know, you might say like Metallica, Slayer, this and that, do shit. You know, obviously, you know, rap over guitar riffs and shit with that, like, you know, on some death metal shit and rap evil. But I feel like Ozzy, like doing some shit with Ozzy would just be such a fucking bug out because he is so bugged out. You know what I mean? And die, like I'm talking about the old school way, like go to the studio with Ozzy and him
Right.
stuttering and telling crazy stories, and then maybe make him sniff some ants, you know, like like get him. I think Ozzy might be down to do some crazy shit, throwback shit with Hyde. You know, what I mean? I might be able to get him to sniff some ants again.
Yeah, that's Blatonio right there.
We keep Sharon out of the fucking session, and we do bad influence on Ozzy and get him to be like old Ozzy. We get him to chew the head off a bat. You know what I mean? In the Hyde session, we'll film it, we'll throw it on IG Live, and we'll have fun.
It go viral for sure. That'd be dope.
Fuck it.
Hell yeah, that's dope.
Make sure it's a candy bat this time. So
Imagine taking Ozzy to like the dope pizza spot in Queens or something and getting him dope pizza. You know what I mean? And fucking
Right.
bringing Ozzy around with you. I just
Yeah,
thought, you know.
that'd be dope. That'd be dope.
Yeah,
What do
he's imitating Ozzy. That's what's up.
what you think about the new like hip hop now? What like the new like drill music, trap music, like drill,
So
mumble rap?
so I'm basically I don't I'm not really a hater of too much shit. I'm all up in my own world. I'm more in my own world. I like to fuck with shit that influences me and to create and inspires me to create. I'll leave it at that type of stuff doesn't do anything for me, and it doesn't inspire me to create. So I don't
Right,
really, you know how like you want to be around people that inspire you to do shit. So if you're a baseball player, you want to be around other baseball players that are dope and that are going to better you. You don't want to be around things that don't better you and aren't going to make you doper at what you do. So when I listen to that, when I hear that stuff, it does nothing for me mentally. It does nothing for me like mood wise or physically. So I just change the channel. I don't really fuck with it. I couldn't tell you if you played it for me right now. I couldn't tell you who it is. I just change
right,
the channel. I distance myself from it. I tune myself out. I listen to a lot of playlists. You know, I formulate my own playlists on Spotify. Or, you know, I use Spotify, so
right.
I formulate all the dope shit, all the shit I'm into that I like, and then sometimes Spotify will recommend me shit off my playlist that maybe I don't know about it, and it'll give me suggestions, and I'll hear some shit that I might like. But as far as now, I've been listening to a lot of like older hip hop, the shit that we just talked about. So
Okay,
you know, the last thing I listened to was my '90s street veteran playlist, which has all the street shit, hardcore shit from the '90s. You know that I like shit like Hooji Rap, Mob Deep, like that type of stuff. So that was the
definitely.
last shit that I rocked. I don't
Well,
listen to the stuff that I don't relate with. Just like I don't expect people to listen to Hyde if they don't relate with. I don't expect the new drill rappers to relate to Hyde. I don't, you
right.
know, like I'm not gonna get offended by it if they're like, who? I don't listen to that shit. That's some crazy white boy shit. I don't know. They be saying, you know, people say shit like that. So I mean, I
shit,
don't really get offended by it.
drill music just the psychotic.
Right.
Oh,
So it's just a different vibe. I mean, I'm straight edge. I don't do drugs and shit. I'm very adrenaline. I'm very athletic. I'm very, you know, I'm a health nut. but I'm all about being ready for the zombie apocalypse if I have to be. You know, very
Yeah,
much like Zombieland, like Woody Harrelson, Woody Harrelson in Zombieland. Like I
right.
have that like
You're
mindset,
not a prepper, are you?
or fucking right, double tap, right? I'm looking at double tap, motherfuckers. Also, I always joke my group is Rick's group from Walking Dead. So like if the world goes there, you come in a
Yeah.
Hyde's spot. That's Rick's group. You know,
Okay.
we're gonna get busy. We're gonna go out
Oh,
on raids. We're gonna be all right. We got the arsenal. We got the weapons. We got the
right.
the hand to hand combat shit. We got all
Holding it
that.
down. Holding it
We
down.
got the attitude. We know how to dig ditches and chop off heads and bury the dead, and burn the dead if we need to.
That's what's up. Well, shit, I wanted to ask you, is there a certain story that sticks out in your mind? Like, it could be a studio session, maybe a live show where that you can share with us, nothing that can incriminate you in no type of way, that like a wild story you can share with the people that's tuned in.
I'm trying to think of something that maybe because I've done a lot of interviews over the years, so I'm trying to I'll try to think of something that people haven't heard from whether it was from me or from Necro because I toured the world with Necro. We've been everywhere, right? So I'm gonna say one of the okay. So I'll bring up a funny one. So one of them is we did Moscow, Russia, right?
Oh,
So that was surreal in itself. Just saying that we've done Moscow, Russia is wild, especially for all the shit that's going on with Russia and all that
yeah,
stuff now. It's bugged out. Um, so we went to the Red Square. We were wilding out. We went on tour. Me and Necro were taking pictures in the Red Square, doing our thing, all that. Then we went in to do the show. And because Russians are so wild and crazy as it is, and so
right,
aggressive as it is, you always see like the videos like, oh, Russia, hashtag Russia, and they're like wrestling with bears and drinking vodka and doing all crazy shit, right? And they're very aggressive on some MMA shit and like they like all the crazy shit. But when we did a Necro show with Hyde there in Moscow, Russia, the motherfuckers, we didn't expect it. We expect mosh pits, but
mm,
the crowd went so crazy that they were climbing, and they hung on the rafters and the lighting fixtures,
oh
and
shit,
they got so crazy that they brought down the lighting fixtures, and
Damn.
the whole show went pitch dark during our
mm,
show. So me and Necro are performing like Bury You with Satan and fucking Beautiful Music and the Crazies and these fucking tracks in the pitch dark while the technical difficulties the people are mosh pitting, going nuts in the crowd in the pitch dark, like pitch black while we're
right,
performing. So the sound didn't go out, but the fucking lighting system went out. And
mm,
then another time we did Gathering of the Juggalos on the flip side of that, and you know how the Juggalos be showing love about shooting Fago bottles in the air
right,
and shit. So they shot a
Uh,
they that we were doing Beautiful Music for You to Die to, the first track on
yeah,
Necro set opening for ICP, and they shot a Fago bottle. They were shooting Fago bottles just on some celebration shit, and it shot and it hit the DJ booth, and it hit the record. It hit our shit,
mm,
and basically knocked the shit out. And we were doing Beautiful Music for You to Die to, and because the sound went off, our DJ got fucked up from the Fago bottle hitting it. We were rapping a cappella, and we finished the song line for line perfect without fucking up a cappella. Where
that's
towards the end of it, everybody started cheering and fucking going nuts because they knew that it was some crazy shit on the fly, and then we just kicked it a cappella and didn't miss a beat, and we killed it. So those are like two stories I'll give you. One was the sound went out, and another one was the lights went out, and we killed it, and it was it was
that's
it was
dope.
pretty fresh.
What's funny is I thought that one about the gathering of the Juggalos was gonna end different. I thought you were gonna say like you and Necro ended up scrapping with a whole bunch of Juggalos in the front of the crowd.
Nah,
No,
nah,
no,
we kept it hip hop
yeah,
and how like a professional hip hop touring artist would do it, and the show must go on type shit. We weren't gonna let that stop and be like, oh, hold on, chill, technical difficulties, wait, oh, duh, and you look stupid, and then
yeah,
maybe people,
hmm
then you lose the crowd.
yeah.
We just kept going until these motherfuckers fixed it, and once they fixed it, the show
Professionals
went right back to what it was doing. And then we had the beats
had
again.
Negro fucking professionals in this bitch. No,
Yeah, yeah. Well. We rehearse a lot too. When we perform, and we don't agree to nothing unless it's like good money, and we're showed we're we're displayed the right way, the right, the right headline,
Right.
the right type of tour, the right type of situation. It's got to be mad professional. Because we've obviously done some stuff paying dues where it was a nightmare. So there's nothing worse than being on tour and it's unprofessional and disorganized and a fucking nightmare.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
that's a fact. That's a fact.
You ain't never left.
I
Because
forgot what else.
Murphy's Law, shit's gonna happen even if shit is professional. Shit's gonna happen that's fucked up.
Yeah.
The tour van's gonna break down. A fire might happen at the venue. Any kind of crazy shit. Fights,
Hmm.
obviously, bad fights break out. Haters pop up and we gotta knock them out. Shit like that. A lot of things
Right.
happen.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact. Well, shit, you've been in the game for a long time, dog. You got any advice you can give the younger artists coming up that would like to help them in the rap game? Because we got like our age
Is that
range is all up and down.
is that
You
the
feel that?
question there, or is that your question? I can't read that one.
Oh, that's Silent Todd, Blatonio Todd's question. I don't know. I just see something. I'm
Oh, it's
not
something
touching
about
it.
Diddy. I
Yeah, I'm
can't
not.
see it. I see something
He,
about Diddy. I can't.
Do
It's
you
close.
feel that Diddy's trial affects hip hop?
Oh,
being his
um,
position as
Being
a
in this
historic
position
one,
as a
like
historic one,
well, I'll give. I think it affects more mainstream hip hop. I think it's a real fucked up situation because I'm gonna get into it a little bit on my podcast too. This type of shit, but he's involved with this whole clique of like Hollyweird type motherfuckers
right,
who casting couch type shit that's been going on since the beginning of time, the beginning of like anybody wanting to get on, having to do favors, whether sexual favors, pedophilia, like just some bullshit, getting down with fucking foul shit, right? So actors have done it. You see like the Corey Feldman, Corey Haim, these type of dudes, the cast from Different Strokes, like these people have been abused and end up getting fucked up and their lives getting ruined and shit. So these motherfuckers doing that because people are chasing fame and chasing trying to be down. That type of shit that's the real devil. That's that real fucked up shit. You know what I mean? Putting people against their own will, and holding like the carrot, dangling the carrot to make them do shit. That's that foul shit. I don't agree with it. That's some fucked up shit. That's some bend over Billy shit. Like these making people do fucking the foul shit. I mean, the people that are doing it, they have low standards and they don't have integrity, and they're probably a little on the queer
right,
side to begin with to do that type of shit. But but or they have just like weak minds, and they're just so brainwashed by chasing fame and chasing like trying to be down that they're doing fucked up shit. But I don't agree with it. I think it definitely puts a black eye on the industry, the major label industry, and the upper echelon and the money, like the higher profile artists and shit like that. But the underground, that shit don't be happening in the underground because everybody's just trying to get on and be cutting edge and spit their style, and they're not signed and they're not. So you're not even signed, so you're not doing the casting couch type shit. So you're just trying to get your inner style out there. You know what I mean? Like whatever speaks to you. Like when I started rapping and doing my thing, I wasn't changing for nobody. I was putting out what I thought I wanted to hear and what I thought hip hop needed from me.
right,
I wanted to do my contribution. I wasn't changing for nobody, and I never did. I was just lucky to get with like-minded people and get with a cat like Necro, who we had that hunger to get our shit heard, and like that. So we ended up having that camaraderie. So I never had to deal with any of that shit. We always had that camaraderie and that like mind of where we wanted our brand to be. You know. So,
yeah,
but yeah.
to me, how I got into y'all music was like, cause y'all was the closest thing to Echam and Knox.
mm,
Okay.
yeah,
Gotcha.
that's
Y'all was
Yeah,
like
that
the
that that dark
y'all was
that
the
dark shit, right?
yeah,
Dark
y'all was
aggressive
like
shit.
the East Coast, the New York version of it.
yeah,
Okay. Yo, that's respect. Listen, everybody, I can't say that because I was East Coast, like you said, I was more into the East Coast vibe. Although what got to me a little bit was the West Coast shit, because there was, remember, the whole East Coast West Coast. So like I was very influenced and exposed to Ghetto Boys, NWA, that type of shit, Tupac, like all that shit was obviously on my radar. But Esham, I was up on it, but it wasn't really on my radar. It's not what like we rocked on the East, in New York. It wasn't that big in New York, especially in the underground, and the underground radio wasn't really showing a lot of light to Esham
He didn't.
and that.
The radio didn't show him love in his own hometown.
No, he was dope. I remember
Well,
protesting with Esham in the '90s, the radio stations at the summer jams with the "fuck the radio" and Gotham City
well,
signs.
well, well. There you go. But Esham always survived, and props to that, because he had fans. So
Right.
even now, today, at this moment in hip hop, Hyde is able to do his thing with no major radio airplay, just having fans that listen to my music on playlists and buy my shit, support my merch, all that type of stuff. So shout out to all the diehard fans that are with me forever. Every time I know, there's a certain comfort that I know that every time I drop something new, whether it's a T-shirt, a hat, a new piece of merch, or a song, that I have a certain amount of people that are always gonna fuck with it and always support it. So that's a good comfort zone to be at, and I know Isham has that too.
No, that's a fact. Let's go. So where can everybody find your merch and all that merchandise, your music, all that? I want to make sure the people that aren't up on Mr. Hyde, I know we got a lot of Mr. Hyde fans in here, but the ones that aren't, they know where to find you.
Okay, so MrHydePLR.com is my physical website, my physical merch site. You get signed vinyl, all sorts of stuff. I got vinyls up there. I got hats. I got T-shirts. I'm a little low on sizes because I'm actually changing over from having physical stock in my crib. For years I'm doing it DIY, where you do the order, it comes to me, I sign it, I autograph it, I package it, and I send it out. UPS or the UPS store in my office with the scale and all that stuff, right? And you might get it to your house with a little bit of cat hair. You know what I mean? Like that, so it's
Right.
fucking authentic. An autograph. I might drop a pizza topping in the box. Like you might get some shit like that
Pepperoni and
straight from my
shit.
crib. You know what I mean? So like, you might get
Yeah,
some
yeah.
coffee grinds in the fucking in the order. But yeah, so now I'm switching over to made to print, or print to order, or made to order. So now
Oh
I'm gonna
yeah.
upload, but now the selection is gonna be so much crazier. It's gonna be my full catalog of designs, all the dope Mr. Hyde album cover designs on shirts, on hoodies, on coffee mugs, on all sorts of shit. Kind of like how Necro Store is. Necro got the Necro Superstore. Go check
Yeah.
that out too. But like, yeah, so MrHydePLR.com will still be in effect, and you can get the physical catalog, whatever I got that's still left, physical, and vinyl and links to shit. And then I'm gonna integrate it with the Shopify and the made to print to order shit, where shit just goes directly. You order it and it goes straight to your house right from the company. And then that way, I never have to worry about ordering stock and ordering cattle. Having stuff in the house. If I'm out of stock of something, I'm
Right.
never out of stock of something. Like
Yeah.
right now, if I'm out of stock of sizes, which I am, I don't have XL shirts of a lot of different designs that I've had over the years. So because XL is the highest seller, and I want to sell the mediums before I press up everything else.
Right.
So it's
No,
like one of those things. So now that I'm switching over, I'll integrate it. Just keep looking out for it. Obviously, I'm going to promote on social media and all over the place once the new store drops.
that's what's up. That's what's up.
But check out all the new music and all the whole catalog on Spotify. The number one thing that helps me out is Apple Music and these digital streaming. And basically, if you download and add my shit to playlist, and you're the ones that decide my shit is classic or not. If you're adding my shit to playlist, you're usually, people don't delete their playlist. That's usually what they fuck with. So if you're
Right.
adding Hyde to your playlist and that's your shit, and you pop it on every day on your way to work or wherever you're going, or the way on your way to the gym, wherever the fuck you're going, way to cop your weed,
Yeah.
the Hood Smokers podcast, right?
Right.
So if
Right.
you're going
Right.
to cop and go get your smoke,
Yeah.
pop on some Hyde and put you on a mood to go get your shit.
No doubt.
You
No
know what I mean?
doubt.
But that's what
Hell yeah.
immortalizes us. When we got hits and they get put on the playlist by the fans, they're there forever. They ain't going nowhere.
That's facts. That's facts. Yeah, make sure y'all go
Word.
follow Mr. Hyde everywhere,
No
especially
doubt.
Spotify and all that. Yeah, no, that's dope. Any advice you can give any
Oh,
young artist that's tuned in?
I just remembered that. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, don't quit your don't quit your day job. Don't do this. Don't do hip hop.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with Puffy, P Diddy. Don't do that.
That's good advice,
No
man.
Diddy.
No, we right. No Diddy. That's the yo. Remember, it became it was no homo for yo. No homo. No homo. No Diddy. No Diddy. Or didn't he? No. So I would say, listen. If you're gonna do hip hop, like the from the ground up, underground up, and a lot of people they're gonna start that way, right? You're not gonna have a fan base right off the bat. If
Right,
you're gonna do it, don't be lazy. Put your all into it. You got to live and breathe it and promote yourself, because that's the only way you're gonna get a buzz. You got to make yourself fans somehow. So a lot of times you see people doing it through social media and through other avenues. Like back in the day, it used to be the drug game, right? So you
right.
would sell your drugs,
Hmm.
get enough money to fund your first demo, or get enough money to fund, pressing up your mixtapes, and whatever it would be. That's selling your shit from the back of a trunk of a car, right? So
Right,
nowadays, if you go make social media content that's very entertaining and creates interest, and you incorporate your music in that, that could help young cats get on, because social media could go viral at any time. Any motherfucker could go viral at any time with the right social media shit. So if you're a dope rapper, you might have to add something else besides rap, because every motherfucker and their mother raps now, like or
right.
tries to rap, attempts to do music. So you have to differentiate yourself from everybody else
Hmm.
by making some kind of interesting content. And for me, I have fans already, so I might not be as quick to create these these things. I don't want to run around with, like, my ass out in the street and do some crazy stupid shit
Right.
that just for shock value to bring people to my Instagram page. I'm
I
kind of
feel you.
above that. I paid my dues already. I'm kind of I'm about more of the music, and giving the fans what they want, because I have this fan base already. But maybe I should be more um, out there trying to make different types of content and incorporating it. I'll do it. I like the epic fail videos. Like, once in a while, you'll see me post comedy and epic fail shit and sync it with my music, and like pop it out there with that. So, like, like add a Mr. High track on a crazy video where somebody falls off a fucking bridge, and when they hit the floor, my beat drops. And then, like some shit like that, like some faces of death shit wrapped in. But then Instagram be taking it off for content. Like,
Right.
I'll get hit with the IG police. They'll try to
Yeah.
police me and give me strikes. So I feel sometimes it's not even worth it,
Right. 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 No
because the
doubt.
shit
No
I
doubt.
create will be like some extreme shit, or some extreme thing, something that I think is funny. But then I'll get a message from Instagram, be like, "Yo, Hyde, you're bullying. You're making fun of somebody, or you're doing some shit." So I'm like, "Oh, whatever, man. It's not even worth it."
I know all about that. Yeah, the cyberbullying shit and all that.
Yeah, bro, I make a post that's funny, or I'll
Yeah.
steal somebody else's post, or screenshot it, and I post it on my shit. The
Yeah. Yeah.
Instagram will take my shit down, and the
Right.
original post I took it from is still rocking. I'm like, so
Yeah.
how does that work? Just because
Right.
I have
Right.
more followers, or so because I have more rats or more haters? Like, what are you doing? Or am I
Right.
supposed to shadow ban you or some
Yeah,
shit?
that don't sound right for real.
Yeah, yeah. But
It's some bullshit in that game.
I I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. Hyde is shadow banned, because I had the same 18,000 to 19,000 followers on Instagram for the last 5 years. So how am I not growing? They're
Right.
keeping me. The algorithm is keeping me in one spot. I mean,
The power to
I should
be.
have reached more. You know why? Because they want you to pay. You want
Right.
reach? They want you to pay.
Pay to
Buy a
play.
Facebook ad. Buy
Yeah.
ads. Buy this. Buy that. Fuck you.
Yeah. I seen a question in the chat earlier, but you were talking. I didn't want to interrupt you, but somebody asked what you felt about pay to play. You know what I'm saying? That whole thing.
Uh, Pay to play, meaning like
Like
pay to play, like on radio.
on everything. Like, yeah, just and the way you get paid to get views and shares and likes and comments and all that shit. Like people paying to do that type of shit.
I don't pay for any kind of fake shit. What like
Right.
I don't do any of that. you know, like buy views on YouTube or buy likes on Instagram.
Right, right.
I get fucking spam emails all the time about that shit. And it's like,
Yeah,
first of all, I think there's spammers and hackers, and I don't. I had my Facebook hacked. Two different Facebook pages were hacked for a couple of different reasons. So I'm not. I'm weary of. I'm paranoid. I'm old school, right? So I'm paranoid of the motherfucker that lives next to me. So like I don't. You know, like I don't sleep on any of that shit. I don't want my shit hacked. So I don't agree with a lot of the pay to do this, pay to do that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm not against ads if it's a legit Facebook ad or Instagram ad, and that's legit. I used to do the Facebook ads. Um, if you're gonna basically people buy a drink or they buy weed every day, right? So like if you're gonna
Right,
buy $20 a 20 sack, you might as well put that 20 into your music and your new song and do an ad. But as far as pay to play, nah, I'm not paying a DJ to play my shit.
right,
I would more rely on the fans to play my shit when I have a new single out. And if I don't hustle my shit and I don't put it on my stories and fucking share it and promote it every day, then I'm slacking. You know, so
right,
like I just feel like, but you know, to each his own. If it gets you on and it gets you to play, now shows is a different story. So
right,
I've had many artists open for me and sell their own tickets. They sell their own tickets to an artist that they think they're similar to, and that's the fan base that they want to reach. So yeah, sell 20 tickets and open for Hyde, or you know, and if they were like, "Yo, Hyde, sell 20 tickets to open for Eminem," let's
right,
just say, right, whatever. If that's all it took, maybe. You know, like
right, right,
I'm not against that. I'm not against that type of shit because it puts you in front of the fan base that you want to be in front of, where
right.
maybe you might not have that hookup. Because a lot of times you just need the hookup.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. That's a fact. What about features? Was Mr. Hyde doing features if people want to get a feature and pay, like, buy a feature?
I stopped for a while. I was doing features like at first, like I go through phases where I'll do features for a while and then I'll stop and focus on my own shit. See, here's the thing with features. If I say yes to all these features, that
Yeah,
I get offered almost every day. Someone asks me my feature price and things like that. It's cool. I mean, I'll do it because it's money. It's a part of the way that I eat off this game is doing some features and shout out to all the cats recently that I've done stuff with. Shout out to Oblique. Shout out to this. I'm not gonna. I don't want to shout out all these cats who I've just done features with recently. Dual Diagnosis has a track I just did with that just dropped. It's called Shed Blood. You can check that out. Anyway, but yeah, anybody that's really serious and they want Hyde on their track for one reason or another, I'm gonna give props to them because that means you're up on dope shit, really.
yeah,
Because if you're gonna pay for a Hyde feature, then you know that I'm gonna come with it and give you something that you can't get from anybody else, and that's props for even being up on shit like that. But yeah, I have my feature price. I charge a lot because it stops my day of
right.
creating something that's new for me. If
Yeah,
I'm giving away my brand, my Mr. Hyde shit that I can use for my own solo shit, and stopping
right.
my day of creating my own solo albums and my own singles, to help someone else's brand that may not be on the level like right now. And obviously, you're getting Hyde because you want listens and you want people to check your shit.
Yeah,
So if I have to stop my day to do that, I have to charge a pretty hefty price. But I do them from time to time if it's the right situation. Uh, you email me or DM me here, and if it's a serious thing, and I think that you're gonna actually put the track out and be serious about your music, where you're not gonna mix it and make me sound like I'm in a fucking a wet paper box, you know. Like some
right,
people will get a hide, they'll pay me for my feature, and then they'll mix the record fucked up, and then
right, right,
I'll sound like a clock radio speaker, you know, some
right.
bullshit. They'll fuck my shit up. So I
right,
make them sign waivers and I make them sign waivers and contracts that you know like that they're gonna put the track out and mix it properly and make me okay to mix. And then I'll even give an offer with me and my engineer from my studio, the BK Dragon's Lair, that will mix the track. You know, like we'll mix it if you pay a little extra. We'll professionally mix the track so it sounds legit. You know, on top of because if you're gonna pay me thousands of dollars for a feature, you might as well go the whole nine and make sure the record sounds good, you know, like audio wise.
that's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, and you got to invest in yourself, or else you ain't gonna make it and shit.
make the product first. You
Right.
can't sell dope drugs if the shit ain't if you don't have the dope product. You gotta have the product that's gonna
Mm-hmm.
get you gotta have the product that are gonna get motherfuckers ripped and high. So if you don't have that,
My bad. Funny. But
there's a
I know
lot of
you.
elements to making a dope product in hip hop.
Yeah. Well, I know you got a lot going on. I'm glad you. I appreciate you taking the time out your day. You know what I'm saying, to come and chop it up with us and shit. But this is usually a question Blatonio asks, but he hasn't. He can't speak right now. You know what I'm saying. So yeah.
Okay.
I hope you had a good time here. And he says always says it's the hardest part of the show and shit. You know what I'm saying? Is there any shout outs and shit?
It is Mr. Hyde is a staple. It says you got to pull it back a little. A staple in hip hop or to hip hop. Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, listen, like I said, if you're up on that type of stuff, and our movement, the PLR movement, the Necro movement, the Mr. Hyde movement, that style, we've been around for years, right? So years and years and years, right, in this game, and we still never change for anybody, and we still push our vision of what we want to release, right. So you know that you putting up that sign, it's that's
I think
peace
he's
right
gonna
there. That's
staple it
love.
to his face, actually, dog. Yeah, Blatonio
What?
don't be playing, dog. I told you he be off that shit, dog. Blatonio's out there, dog. He ain't playing, dog.
No doubt. Well, listen, you guys know your shit. Usually when somebody asks me for shout outs, I shout out y'all. You know what I mean? Because the love is reciprocal, right? So
Yeah.
we're not here without people like you, people like me, obviously, but with, like you spreading the word, right? This is the media, this is the promo. Like it gravitates and brings people toward what we're doing and we're trying to accomplish. So I'm going to shout out the Hood Smokers podcast and all these other podcasters and everybody who keeps the brand alive. That's who I'm going to shout out, and obviously shout out to my people. People know who I'm fucking down. Everybody who's down with me, they always feel the love from me, and they always feel my energy and my persona around them because the people who love me, I love them, and I do anything that I can to help. You know what I mean, and vice versa. So